Hi guys, Jurassic Junkie here, and you know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Welcome to the Friday Night Rant. So yes, before the bombshell is spoken about, I'm going to kick in with a drink, and this week we have a Brazilian beer by the name of Brahma. So let's have a taste of what Brahma's about, and then we shall talk about the events. Brahma's okay. Brahma ain't great, but Brahma's okay. So then, Microsoft have changed their colours, and I can honestly say I am surprised. So for anybody that don't know, Microsoft has turned around now and said they've changed their policies and it is no longer required to be connected every 24 hours, and at the same time you can now trade, lend, second-hand, do everything with your games exactly as you do now and exactly how the PlayStation 4 is going to be. Which is absolutely brilliant, because that is the thing that's caused so many people to go over to PlayStation, or so many people to just go, I don't want to be part of it and stuff like that. And obviously Microsoft have looked at the actual sales and gone, wow, we are not doing so many pre-orders, because when the Xbox One first launched, even without showing its games, it was actually outselling the PlayStation 4. But then as soon as the bomb dropped of obviously you needed to stay online, you needed to connect 24 hours, you couldn't sell, or maybe you can, but this and all murky stuff, then PlayStation 4 sales just rocketed. And I was also one of them people, because there is my PlayStation 4 pre-order. So yes, PlayStation 4 sales have gone through the roof, and obviously Microsoft have looked at this, and obviously there's been a massive amount of people on the internet all complaining, saying they don't want it. And strangely enough, they've listened and done it. Now, is this down because everyone's complaining, or just because their wallet's going to be damaged? Who knows, but either way, it's great news for people that don't want this DRM. But I couldn't say it's all good news. Now, my major problem is obviously them saying that you can't sell some of the second-hand games, or if you can, we can pick where they actually are sold. Now, that was the biggest issue for me that made me go, I don't really want the Xbox One because of this. But the thing I did actually like was the online 24-hour thing. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, that's stupid, because obviously if you can't get internet connection and all the other reasons, 100% you are correct. But I'm just being very selfish now and just talking about me. Now, I can get a 24-hour connection, so it's not an issue. And the thing is, as I spoke about in the last video, the reward for having the online 24-hour connection was you got to share your games with 10, well, I'm about to say friends, but family as they like to call it, but it could have been friends, which I thought was an absolute awesome system. Now, the idea, obviously, of this 24-hour connection is simply because if you go to sell a game, it then needs to actually tell your console it's been sold and takes it from your library. So I could understand why you had to do it every 24 hours. It was just to make sure your library is up to date and it removes the games you've sold. And obviously stops you and your family from playing them. And I was absolutely happy with that system, because, to be fair, I love the idea of having to share games with my friends. Because my friend buys a lot of indie games, and sometimes I go, I don't know if I actually want to buy that or not. Be able to play that through our family account, I think, was an absolute awesome service. But that's been killed. So personally, I would have quite liked him to say, there's no DRM, you can sell on your second-hand games and do all that stuff, but we're keeping the 24-hour connection. But that is just because I'm being selfish and they've taken away a service that I did actually like the idea of. But I think mainly because Microsoft had just completely f***ed up this entire thing anyway by letting little bits of information coming out, being very grey. If they would have come straight out and said, by the way, there's this 10-game service, but you've got to be connected every 24 hours, I think people might have been a bit different about it. Now, I know a lot of people have spoke on the comments and said no, they don't want that, and that's absolutely fine. But I spoke to a lot of PlayStation fans this morning saying, obviously, did you hear the news? And they was like, yes, and how has this changed your opinion? And I told them about this, obviously, idea of the 10-game collection. And a lot of them says, I didn't even know Microsoft was offering that service. Which just brings it back to Microsoft was about, they spent more time talking about the bad and didn't actually highlight the good, which all just comes down to the actual marketing, the PR, and everything was just atrocious from Microsoft's behalf. But either way, it does mean that the internet has won. So people voting with the wallets and via voice, Twitter, and absolutely everything means that Microsoft has caved. And I think it's good that if they listened, I think that's great that they listened. I don't know if they've listened or they just looked and went, oh, PlayStation's trashing us, we're going to have to do something. The other thing I want to talk about is a rumour that's been going around simply saying that the Xbox One will not allow you to play any of your games if you are banned. Now, when this rumour first came out, I just thought straight away, bullshit, that's bollocks. And I thought that was it straight away, that you cannot ban somebody from all their games because they're being naughty online. And luckily enough, Major Nelson has backed that up and just laughed and says, that's stupid, we would never stop you from doing it. But because this has brought up the entire thing of obviously getting people banned on Xbox Live, it's now shined some light on how the new system's going to work. And I actually think it's quite exciting. Now, obviously, the way it currently works at the moment is if you anger me or anything like that on Xbox Live, I can submit a report against you, and eventually if you get lots of them, you would become a void gamer and get negative feedback and whatnot. But it is open to people abusing the system. Now, for instance, I will hold my hands up and say, yes, I am one of those people where I have played a game and somebody is misusing that game, for instance, using glitches, exploits, or just being an absolute and I've filed a report against him. But also, while I'm in a party with the lads, I've actually said to them all, you lot all put a report in against him as well, because he's such a But what's been said now is on the Xbox One, if you decide to do that, the system will actually check that I'm in the same game as that person I'm filing a complaint against, but it will also detect if all my friends instantly send one across, it will check if they've been in the game as well. So it looks like you may be getting strikes against your own name for trying to just dub on people when you aren't even a part of it, which I think is great. Obviously, I've abused it, yes, but for good reason, because the people are But the point is now the system's actually going to be a bit more intelligent. On top of it, it's also got a griefing feature now. So for instance, if you're playing Forza and you're going down the track backwards, the actual game itself will notify Xbox Live that you're actually griefing. And then if you go on to play Battlefield and you start team killing, the system will do the same again. Now, what will happen if you actually get a load of griefing strikes against your name? I'm not 100% sure. But even if you did end up getting banned from a particular server, like they said, you can still play your games, it's not a problem. So in the long run, if it starts making lobbies and not actually putting a load of people in there that have always been griefing and stuff like that, I think it's great because it's going to just make the online experience more enjoyable because we won't have to play with a bunch of And the other thing I didn't talk about Microsoft last week was the new console, not the Xbox One console, but the new 360 console. Now, as soon as they showed that off, straight away I just went, why? What's the point? Because we've saw Nintendo do the Wii Mini and that thing is not selling at all. Now, I think Microsoft's new 360 Mini thing will sell probably more units than the Wii Mini did, but the point is, I don't understand for it. Yes, you're going to support it for 5 years, which is great. It's got a really good long life on the 360. But I don't understand where the market is for this new 360. Anybody that's currently got 360 and is not willing to budge will continue playing on that 360. Any people that can't afford the console and go, right, next gen's here, so current gen's going to be a lot cheaper, I might be able to jump on board. If they couldn't afford a console in the first place, they're not going to buy the brand new Mini, whatever it's called. They're going to buy a second-hand 360 or even a first-hand 360 because the price of them are going to drop. So I don't understand who's the people going to buy it. Collectors, yeah, they'll definitely buy it, but there's not enough collectors in the world to justify a new piece of hardware being created. So I just think it's a stupid idea. But all in all though, I am happy with what Microsoft has done as a whole now by changing this entire thing, because to be fair, I will actually say I am more 360 now. I am 95% 360 and 5% PlayStation, and I know the second those words come out of my mouth I can hear a million dislikes on this video. And I can tell you now, I don't understand why, because I'm not telling you that you should all go purchase this console. I'm saying I have trust in this console, I enjoy the online experience I've had from the 360, and I want to continue playing on Xbox Live. And especially because all my friends are Xbox Live players, and to me, gaming is that connection I have with that bunch of friends. So, hopefully I've not offended people by saying I want to buy an Xbox One. So, a bit of PlayStation 4 news. Now, nothing massive has happened on the PlayStation 4. They continue through getting a load of pre-orders. Everybody on the PlayStation side are very happy. So not much information at all. But the only cool little gem that's come out this week is that Dan Hall, the creator of Dayz, is actually looking to export the new standalone Dayz out for consoles. Now, at the moment, it looks like it may be coming to both consoles, but it definitely feels like Dan is actually siding more towards Sony. Now, in an interview with Dan, he actually said, Sony let you self-publish and they don't make you pay for updates. Microsoft requires that you have a publisher, they have no digital distribution strategy and require you to pay $10,000 or whatever it is for a update. So with that, I have to actually agree that yes, Dan is right, that the way that Microsoft do it by charging for updates would put a lot of people off, especially Dayz. If you've actually played Dayz, you understand that that game has a million updates because they're constantly trying to fix things. Fingers crossed it's not going to be so bad on the actual standalone. But the point is, if they find a problem and they want to fix it, they're doing it for us, the gamers. But to be penalised for doing something, trying to fix something, but being charged at the same time is just madness. Why Microsoft have these massive charges in place, I don't know. Now, when he says that $10,000 or so, or whatever it is, obviously he's speaking about the actual 360 because I don't think there's any confirmation exactly what Xbox One is doing. For what the rumours are saying, it sounds like PlayStation 4 is definitely going to be the better for the indie and people developing and stuff like that on there. But again, I'm a man of facts and I won't say definitely that Microsoft are doing until they actually turn around and say this is the exact price for an update and this is exactly what we're doing. So take that as you will. It may come to both, but it looks like he is siding towards Sony at the moment. To be fair, I think it's a massive thing if it actually just comes to Sony, because personally I think Xbox has got the better games, again my opinion, but for Days to Go, if it was just for PlayStation, is a console seller really, because Days is an amazing game, and one of them games that you don't just purchase just to play for a few hours, you will lose hundreds of hours. So yes, if Sony can nab Dan Hall and get that over to PlayStation 4, I think that's going to be a great thing for PlayStation. And a bad thing for me, because I really want that game on the console, and if I get an Xbox One, I'll be upset. So, the next thing I want to talk about is Nintendo, because I didn't get a chance to talk about that last week. And I can understand why Nintendo really didn't have a proper conference. They did show off some actually good new games that are coming, but to be fair, everything that they shown was something that we already knew that was coming. So there was nothing really mind-blowing. But to run down a particular few good things that they're actually doing is Mario Kart 8. Now I think this is great. I know Nintendo tend to rehash a lot of their games, but Mario Kart is one of them ones they should just rehash over and over again, because it's an absolute brilliant kart game. We've gone through so many indie Xbox Live games to try to recreate the Mario Kart, and none of them touch how good Mario Kart is. So definitely I think it's brilliant that they're actually bringing it out, and that to me is a console seller, because there's going to be a lot of people sat there waiting going, I'm just waiting for that game. And Mario Kart could be that. On top of it, they've got Smash Brothers coming out, another 3D Mario world, and this time it's in a cat suit. And again, this is the thing that I have the problem with Nintendo, because it's just the same thing. I know it slightly plays different and it does something slightly different, but Jesus Christ, it's another Mario game. Then on top of it, they've got Zelda Link Between Worlds for the 3DS, and to be fair, I shall be purchasing that, because I did play the new 3DS Zelda game when that first came out, and to be fair, I'm a fan of top-downs. I really enjoy the old school top-down view, so this one is right up my alley, and I'll definitely be purchasing it when it comes out. And then to top it all off, they go around and make some stupid Animal Crossing or Animal Zigzag game, so all the kids can go and start playing. I bloody love it! So yes, I am playing Animal Crossing. Mainly because it's a game that I absolutely fell in love with back on the GameCube. Never played any of the other ones, and I never gave it the time of day. And it's come around, and Joe's fell in love with it. My niece is in love with it. And I thought, you know what? I just want to jump on the bandwagon and just play with them all. So yes, I am playing Animal Crossing of all things. And then time for a shameless blog. I've now made a new website called everythingnewleaf.com. Link is down below, and it's actually being run by my niece and also Joe. So it's a community that they're going to be looking after, putting the latest information and stuff like that on there. And I'm just the lackey that programs it. So yes, if you are a New Leaf fan, definitely go check us out down below. But staying on the Nintendo news, it was actually come out this week that Iwata has turned around and says, our focus, first of all, is to regain momentum on the Wii U towards the end of the year, and then we'll try and establish successful third-party Wii U software titles. And obviously what he's talking about there is that a lot of people have mentioned that the third-party support is just dropping at the moment on the Wii U. We've seen EA turn around and say, we are not developing any games for your console. Then a few murmurs saying, well, we might be, but there's nothing in the pipeline at the moment. The point is, it's getting less and less. So Nintendo has said they're definitely going to be concentrating, trying to get more third-party support in there, which I think is good, because where it stands at the moment is obviously you've got a few people like me who's going, oh, Xbox or PlayStation, and I'm jumping in between, but there's a bunch of people that have turned around and says no, they're not going to go to next gen until the dust is settled, and you can definitely look what games are on each console. And to you people, I'd tip my hat to you to be able to have the restraint not to go next gen, and actually be able to sit down and wait for the dust to settle and go, right, this is now the best console. I think it's really good. So Nintendo have got a great place to be now, where they can actually just turn around, because one, they're incredibly cheap. And two, a lot of people are on the fence, and they can go round and nab all them people now. All they need is them titles that make people go, now I can buy the console. So with Mario Kart on its way, I think that's a great start, but they just need to get that third-party support in there. I know a lot of Nintendo fans are going to turn around and go, well, I'm not bothered about playing Deus Ex or Mass Effect on my Wii U. And that, I completely agree, but there's definitely a few titles that you need to be injected in there, because it takes Nintendo so long to make a game. In between that dry period, you need the third parties jamming in games, so it feels like you're getting a fresh amount of titles all the time. So, Nintendo, I hope you will say what you're going to do and actually crack on and get some people in there, because to be fair, I'm getting closer to actually saying I might get a Wii U, mainly because I've got a girlfriend and she constantly gives me shit. But the point is, I'm just sat on the fence waiting for them titles. So just Nintendo, step your game up and just give us those titles. But it does prove a lot of people do sit on the fence and wait for it, because when Animal Crossing did come out, they've actually sold 3 times the amount of 3DSs. Now 3DSs are selling like crazy anyway, but for them to then step up to 3 times the amount just means a lot of people was waiting for Animal Crossing, then they all jumped on it. So just apply that to the Wii U and you're off on a good start. So that's me done. I know there's not lots of information this week, but how can you top E3 because there was just so much to talk about. So I'm going to kick back now and drink my beer. I'll leave you with the question of the week, which I know is going to be a lot of hate in there, but God bless you haters. And that is, with the new Microsoft information, has it made you change your mind about what console you're planning to purchase? Now I understand a lot of PlayStation fans are probably going to say nope, and I also know there's a few burnt Microsoft fans that are going to say no, it's too little too late. But I just want to know if anyone has changed their colours. So that's me done and dusted, guys. Let's finish this drama. And now I'm going to go and play some Animal Crossing. So as always, thank you very much for putting up with me. Thank you very much for watching the video. And I hope you all have a great weekend. Cheers guys, bye.